necessarily reflect those of the staff or management of Radio Hotties. The content broadcast on this show is meant for informational and entertainment purposes only.
After months of screen time and no play dates, the Children's Discovery Museum is open for Purple Play Days of Summer. It's time to rediscover the wonder. Climb on the fire engine, splash around in the waterworks, blow bubbles, and scale the tree climber in Bill's backyard. Oodles of hands-on arts and culture, STEM, health, and nature-themed exhibits await your family. The Giant Purple Museum is open every day, Wednesday through Sunday. Reservations are required at cdm.org. That's cdm.org. जब हमारे परिवार के बुजुर्गों की सेहत और देखभाल की बात होती है तो घर पर इन होम केयर वाला ऑप्शन सबसे बढ़िया है। अनलॉक का पेस प्रोग्राम एक ऐसा कन्वीनियंट एंड पर्सनलाइज्ड ऑप्शन है जिसके जरिए हमारे बुजुर्ग घर पर हमारे साथ रहकर यही देखभाल और सेवा का लाभ उठा सकते हैं। अब चाहे वो घर पर रहे या अनलॉक वाले पेस सेंटर में आए, उनको वही डेडिकेटेड एंड प्रोफेशनल केयर मिलेगी। अनलॉक ने बुजुर्गों की सेहत को अपना प्रायोरिटी बना लिया है। और जानने के लिए 1855-308-0195 पे कॉल करें। That's 1855-308-0195।
Top of the morning, Bay, with Good Morning Bay.
Get to know about the traffic on your way and what's news around the world today.
Some wisdom skills along the way.
Oh, and a song to hum along with and sway.
Get your perfect entertaining start to the day.
At 9 a.m. every weekday morning with
Mahima's
Good Morning Bay.
आप सभी लोग हमारी तरफ से एक प्यार भरा नमस्ते,
नमस्कार,
वनक्कम,
नमस्कार,
खुशामदीद,
अस्सलाम वालेकुम,
सत श्री अकाल,
मेघांतरिकी वंदनम,
जय स्वामी नारायण,
जय श्री कृष्ण,
जय जनेंद्र।
हमारे इस्माइली भाई बंधुओं को बोलते या अली मदद,
मौला अली मदद बोलते हुए सारे फीजे मदद बोल के नीसा बोला बरजान हम आ गए हैं आपके प्यारे महिमा के द्वारे। मैं फालतू बाबा
एंड ऑफ कोर्स माई सेल्फ फालतू रानी लेकर आपके लिए एक और ड्राइव टाइम दैट्स गोना मेक इट टोटली एक्साइटिंग एंड टोटली मस्तानी बंदुजानी।
बंदुजान एंड यस वी एक्चुअली are telling you right now about the news. देखा जाए तो we got to talk about that right now. We are right now airing on our YouTube channel. If you didn't know about that,
correct.
If you're joining us on if you're actually on our app right now, you can actually listen to us live for sure. And video भी आ जाएगा आपको because on the app we actually can view us live as well. If you go to our app section on Android, of course, iOS पे आ रहा है, we're getting the updates going on. पर उससे पहले let's say good morning to Anna ji who actually already joined us on our YouTube channel, I guess. Thank you so much, Anna ji. Thank you. Good to see you on our YouTube channel over here. And yes, why? What's happening? Well, I'll tell you about it, Jan. There actually is some news we're going to share with you guys for sure in a few minutes, and that's regarding what's happening with Facebook. Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, everything is down. Why they're down? I have my own conspiracy on that, but they say it's a technical outage somewhere, and that's why all these three things are out. Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook, everything is down, Balajan. So probably you have to get back to our traditional way of trying to contacting people, pick up the phone and call them, or use your messenger app, I suppose, or probably it's high time we had a backup, right, Faltwani?
Yes, absolutely.
A backup social media is required, Banajan. Well, the social media also, Facebook already is under fire for something else, but it's actually today is a breaking news. Yesterday, if you guys saw 60 Minutes, there was a reveal of a particular whistleblower who came out and said how unethical Facebook has been in trying to maximize profits as opposed to caring for the benefit of public. Now, what's going to happen probably is eventually, I think this person is going to become famous. She'll probably get a book deal. She'll add a book, and then everything will go hush-hush because we are living in a capitalist world and it's all about capitalism. There's nothing about the greater good for people and everything. It's all balderdash. We'll come back right now, but right now let's talk about what's happening on the roads. Raste ka haal. Aapko denge hum log saste Birjan. Here you go. What happened, Fatwani?
Did you just use the term balderdash?
Isn't that what it is?
Yeah.
Yes. Blistering barnacles. Let's go, Birjan. Check out what's happening on the roads. Raste ka haal. Total sustain. Oh, Fatwani. Abhi nahi. 1 second. But then we're going to go and check out what's happening on the road right now.
Call
In
us
just a few
from
minutes.
wherever
Let's
you
take a
are
hal.
at
आप लोगों को देते हैं
408-912-2479.
सस्ते में.
It's time for the Bandhu traffic update. Call us from wherever you are at 408-912-2479.
All right, so let's say, Falzani, we actually are checking on the traffic right now, and traffic is seeming light. It's not too bad, Banajan, except for incident reported on 101. This actually is very close to San Francisco. South San Francisco, Banajan actually is northbound 101. There's an accident over there. Watch out for that. Apart from that, I don't see any kind of accidents or big backup of traffic as well. There's watch out for a brush fire on 101 northbound south of City in the southern part of the Bay. So watch out for that part. Apart from that, I think every other freeway is looking smooth and clean. There's a problem on 80, which generally is always the case because of the backup. It's not residual delay. This is actually delayed because of an accident which happened a few minutes ago. The debris are on the street, so watch out for that. This actually is towards the, I think it's the westbound. Yes, it's westbound, I'm right. So, Baljan, right now it's time for us to go take a look at the news. Faltwani, if she's ready, we can actually go into that. But all the pinging you hear, Baljan, is people actually asking us, what happened to Facebook? How will you get your news? And we're telling them that don't worry, we actually are live on our app for sure. As साथ ही में we also live on our YouTube channel Radio D Hotties. If you want to catch our YouTube channel, it's good. It's called Radio D Hotties. जाके subscribe कर दीजिएगा ताकि when you go live there, you automatically get the updates for our shows going live. And abhi ke liye bachcha, it's time for us to go take a look at the news. Faltwani, what do we have as news for our bandhus today?
Well, Altu Baba, as you pointed out, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp are all experiencing outages. I was trying to get a tech news websites to give us more information about that, but let me tell you that the social messaging apps, which are all owned by Facebook Inc., were experiencing outages in multiple countries. It's worldwide. Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram are down. It is not clear what is causing the disruption. The outages appear to have started at 11:40 a.m. Eastern time, and everything has just remained inaccessible. The outage appears to also be affecting services that use Facebook to log in. Niantic, the software developers behind games like Pokemon, GO, and Ingress, said on Twitter that it is looking into reports of errors associated with Facebook login and will update here once we have more information. Also, let's tell you that, let me see if I can get a more recent report from Tech Radar. Excuse me. Let's also tell you that why there's currently no way to avoid the issues, so you'll just have to wait until they've been solved and then reconnect to Instagram, WhatsApp, and or Facebook. Some users have also reported issues with the company's Oculus virtual reality gaming services, and we are yet to hear of a reason for this outage, as I mentioned before. And Facebook's official Twitter channel hasn't yet acknowledged the problem, but there's been an unofficial statement on the WhatsApp Twitter account. We're aware that some people are experiencing issues with WhatsApp at the moment. We're working to get things back to normal and will send an update as soon as possible. Thanks for your patience, is what the WhatsApp Twitter ID is saying. March and April of 2021 also saw a major outage where each of these services were down for over a half an hour each time. It may be a similar issue as it is impacting the same series of Facebook-owned apps and services. Last time we saw far more services impacted by the outage, and at the time of the writing, this seems to be limited to just Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook's other services. So if you have an Android phone, they're saying there are other options to connect through Android. Well, for that, I am not going to actually popularize it because this seems to be more of a sponsored ad. There's another app which actually works, but you know, if you have an iPhone, you guys know what to do. You can also use your iMessaging and that particular app as well.
So people are saying that on Facebook, WhatsApp, everything is down. People run to Twitter. There are tons of memes going out there where Twitter is steady and everybody, and Facebook, and you know the penguins, right, of the Madagascar. They show what the penguin is the boss, the Twitter is the boss.
Oh.
So all these are going on the Twitter at least. I don't know. Are you following Twitter, Faltwani?
No, I actually don't.
Well, but I'll tell you
Abdullah.
what. The first person to detect this particular outage was Faltwani. She raised the alarm saying that, oh, my WhatsApp is updating.
Yeah.
Oh, my Facebook is updating. And that's when I went researched and found out. See, that's what actually happens when people are so tethered, like Faltwani. She's not getting updates. She voiced it out. And some people detect false Faltwani. It's so nice that you do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yes, Pandujan, I actually caught it. I caught it at like 1 a.m. in the night. Whoa, whoops. No, sorry. A little over.
It can't be 1 a.m. in the night.
Yes, it was.
It
I
was the
having,
morning or 7 o'clock, right?
No, Alta Baba.
No?
WhatsApp, I was
6
having.
o'clock? Oh,
some,
WhatsApp?
maybe where my WhatsApp is hosted, that was experiencing an outage already.
Oh,
so.
1 o'clock onwards. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
sure. 1 o'clock, 2
Yeah.
o'clock, 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
You kept on checking, I suppose, right?
Yeah, yeah.
She couldn't sleep, I guess.
No, I couldn't. I kept checking.
That's what's happening, but it's called anyway, I won't say the thing right now. Faltwani.
Okay.
What else do we have? News.
Well, I don't know how many of you know about that oil spill, the catastrophic California oil spill that happened, Madhujan, that killed a fish and damaged wetlands. A large oil spill off of the southern California coast left fish dead, birds mired in petroleum, and wetlands contaminated in what local officials call an environmental catastrophe. The U.S. Coast Guard, heading a cleanup response involving federal, state, and city agencies on a Sunday, announced an around-the-clock investigation into how the spill occurred. An estimated 126,000 gallons or 3,000 barrels had spread into an oil slick covering about 13 square miles of the Pacific Ocean since it was first reported on Saturday morning. Kim Carr, the mayor of Huntington Beach, told a news conference. She called this spill an environmental catastrophe and also a potential ecological disaster. President Joe Biden is accusing Republicans of a reckless stance on the U.S. debt limit. President Joe Biden on Monday accused Senate Republicans of taking a reckless position in refusing to join Democrats in voting to raise the government's $28.4 trillion debt as the United States faces the risk of a historic default in just 2 weeks.
I think this is the game these guys play. Because they want to prove the high salaries they're going to get, the overtime they're going to get. They'll push it to the last minute.
Yeah.
And finally go, oh yeah, we did it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm sorry, but I can see through their lies.
Yeah. The Senate Republicans have twice in recent weeks blocked action to raise the debt ceiling, saying they do want action but are refusing to help. Republicans say Democrats can use a parliamentary maneuver known as budget reconciliation to act alone. Top Democrats have rejected using that approach. What Republicans in Congress are doing today is so reckless and dangerous in my view, Biden told reporters at a White House news conference. Raising the debt limit comes down to paying what we already owe, not anything new. Late last month, the U.S. House of Reps passed and sent to the Senate a bill to suspend the limit on Treasury borrowing through the end of 2022. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, a Democrat, was expected to hold a vote on that measure this week. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen last week warned lawmakers that the United States government was close to exhausting its federal borrowing capabilities, which is now set for October 18th. I feel like there's a bunch, the Republicans who are sitting right now in the Senate, Alto Baba, like a bunch of petulant schoolgirls. Who are like, oh, you did it on your own the last time.
I'm sorry.
So,
I will take offense to this. What do you mean petulant schoolgirls? Even schoolboys that way.
they
School kids, you say that.
why
girls? Even I've seen some boys do it
it's
also.
all the drama. I mean,
Drama.
the unnecessary drama.
Drama. I like the way you say it.
The drama.
The drama.
Okay. So anyway, they want them to use the budget reconciliation measure because they passed another bill through the budget reconciliation. You did it that way, so you're not going to get our support on this.
Oh my goodness gracious. They're
Yes.
so petulant.
They're
Period.
petulant is like, people who are just being ridiculously angry.
That's what I'm
unnecessary.
trying to say. They're just being petulant.
Anyway.
I'm learning these words, but then you also can do it. So that's your vocabulary check for you guys. And of course, yes, Shashita also listens to our show regularly. So you can actually learn from Faltwani.
Well, anyway, but let's talk about another thing that President Joe Biden is having to struggle with to secure his new deal to transform the U.S. economy. This is exactly what the Republicans did when President Obama, during the midterm, when they started pushing back on every single thing, right, during his second term.
Yeah.
Last October, presidential candidate Joe Biden flew to Warm Springs, Georgia, just days before the national election to compare his ambitions with those of the United States' longest serving president. Franklin Delano Roosevelt would come back to Warm Springs often to think about how to heal the nation and the world, Biden said, adding that FDR was the kind of president that our nation needs right now. President Biden's Build Back Better agenda, the multi-trillion-dollar jobs, infrastructure, and climate plan that's on thin ice in Congress right now, has drawn comparisons to FDR's New Deal, which created the modern U.S. safety net and employed millions during the Great Depression. Unlike FDR, Biden's Democrats only have razor-thin majorities in the House and in the Senate, and he has to overcome opposition even within his own party to have any chance of delivering on his promises to shrink inequality in the United States, fix its crumbling infrastructure, and make rich Americans and companies contribute more to spending. This week, Biden will hit the road again to push the spending plans, traveling to Michigan, a state he flipped from Republican to Democratic in 2030. Other White House officials are expected to fan out across the country. The U.S. Supreme Court has rejected a challenge to the New York tax on opioid companies. They are going to be collecting a $200 million surcharge imposed on opioid manufacturers and distributors to defray the state's costs arising from the deadly epidemic involving powerful pain-killing drugs. And in local news, Manajan, let's just give you a quick update about hospital workers at the Sutter Delta in Antioch go on a strike over staffing shortages. Sutter Delta Medical Center employees say that they are worried for patient and staff safety and that conditions are dire in the facility as management ignores their concerns. We're drowning. There's just not enough staff. Jennifer Stone, an emergency room technician at the Sutter Delta Medical Center, said in a statement, "We can't give adequate care. We feel like management is ignoring our concerns and is leaving us to fend for ourselves. We can't do it all anymore." Workers are understaffing predated the workers are saying that understaffing actually predated the COVID-19 pandemic due to poor management decisions by the hospital, and the pandemic only exacerbated concerns. For those of you who are following that story on the surfer who was bitten by a shark yesterday in waters near Bodega Bay and who suffered severe injuries, he is recovering and he's in stable condition is what they're saying. He did suffer very, very severe injuries. The man was attacked shortly after 9 a.m. while surfing off Salmon Creek Beach, according to the Bodega Bay Fire Protection District. Authorities believe that it might have been a great white shark that bit the man on his thigh, and his surfboard is being examined to confirm that. Nearby surfers who saw the attack helped him to shore and gave him first aid until emergency crews arrived. He was airlifted by a California Highway Patrol helicopter to Santa Rosa Memorial Hospital, where he was in stable condition, the CHP said in a Facebook post, which you may not be able to read because Facebook is still down.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, let me tell you, for those of you who have been thinking about schools and how they're struggling and everything, right, because of the pandemic, California schools got $26 billion for COVID-19. It's important that you attend your school board meetings and find out how your school district spent it. The COVID-19 pandemic crippled learning for many students, leaving some kids years behind their classmates. In an effort to tackle this education crisis, the federal government distributed billions of dollars to schools throughout the country, including here in California. Despite the financial windfall, some local teachers and schools tell NBC Bay Area Investigative Unit that they've seen very little of the money go to address students' learning needs in the classroom. In fact, Greg Kogel, who teaches a second and third grade combo class in San Jose's Alum Rock Unified School District, Kogel says it's critical for students at that age to stay up to speed because it's tougher to catch up in for future grade levels. If you're reading at grade level in second or third grade, the chances that you graduate from high school are much higher, which is absolutely true. We have to get them reading and writing and actually paying attention. However, he says administrators at his district do not share his sense of urgency. They have not added teachers' aides, they are rotating teachers or even giving extra administrators. In June, the nonprofit Policy Analysis for California Education released a report showing students at 19 school districts were about 2.5 months behind in English and math as a result of this pandemic. Kogel believes that the reality is likely far more serious, with some students in his district nearly 2 years behind in those subjects. The NBC Bay Area Investigative Unit analyzed federal stimulus data for more than 1,500 California school districts and charter schools. Records show that Alum Rock Unified spent nearly $15 million on expenses including school lunches, PPE and student counseling. However, the district still has $32 million remaining. There's a lot of unspent money as well. And if you want to catch up and look at how much money was given and how many went towards students' learning needs, please visit this dashboard. I'm going to share this on our I was going to say Facebook page, but no, I'm going to share it on mediamahima.com. So, or please ask this question. It is our money, Bandhujan. It is our hard-earned taxpayer dollars that are going towards providing the schools the funding. Is that addressing your child's needs? Especially if you're a parent of a special needs child, this is something you definitely want to know. And if your child learns differently, you definitely want to make sure that they're getting the supports that they need during this time, because the schools cannot claim that they did not have funds. So please do look it up. $26 billion. Can you believe that, Altu?
Well, how many schools around California?
Huh? There's a lot of schools, about 1,500 school districts.
So it's still like, each of them have got given based on the number of schools students are submitting, and it takes some time for the money to be spent out.
Yeah.
I don't know why people are so thinking about it. Anyways, it's okay.
Well, we have to be concerned about it because a lot of that is going into administrator salaries. It's going into when it's not addressing students' learning needs specifically.
Yeah.
Well, today there's a spare the air alert, Bandhujan, so please make a note. A wildfire smoke from the southern Sierra blazes will continue to bring haze to the Bay Area skies through Monday. Air district officials have warned. An air quality advisory for the region has been issued by the Bay Area Quality Management District. Pollution levels are not expected to exceed federal health standards, and they're saying that air quality advisory has been issued today due to this wildfire smoke. And we will come to international and world news, but before that, do you have a Gane Ka Kida for us, Altu Baba?
Of course, Faltani, always ready for you guys. Bajan, this is a wonderful song from the movie Tanaji. And yes, good morning to everybody joining us on YouTube. Good morning, Vishalji. Nice to see you there. And also, Anaji, namaste to you too. And also, Bajan, wherever you are, you can listen to us live on our app for sure. Or you can actually, if you choose to use on the public medias, you can use social media like YouTube. We also are going to be available on Instagram and Facebook pretty soon, Manajan. And also a new thing coming up for you guys, where you can listen to us live on the app.
Shankara Re Shankara Re Shankara Shankara Re Shankara Re Shankara Re Shankara Shankara Re Shankara Re Shankara Re Shankara Guj 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 dhar pakad guj guj pakad 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 Shankara Re Shankara Re Shankara Re Shankara Chant chatur meri khopadi mein rakt ka diya jala Chant chatur meri khopadi mein rakt ka diya jala पूछ मेरी चिंगारी है अकड़ मेरी मतवाली है नाच गाने तलवारे हैं बोली में अंगारे हैं चला, नौटंकी खेल से टोली का चूल्हा जला। बूझ 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 धर पकड़, बूझ बूझ पकड़ पकड़ पकड़।
कोंडाण्याचे मावळ्या तुझ्या कोंडाण्याचे आधी लगीन कोंडाण्याचे.
And yeah, और आएगा बलचान, लेकिन अभी के लिए फालतू नहीं. Are we ready to go and check out the news around the world for our bandhus?
Yes, absolutely. Badajan, from across the world, here is some news that's coming up. Breaking news about China, Badajan. China has escalated and mounted the largest incursion yet near Taiwan and blames the US for interference. China blamed the United States on Monday for increased tensions over Taiwan, as the island fingered Beijing as the chief culprit after reporting the largest ever incursion by China's Air Force into its air defense zone at 56 aircrafts. Chinese claimed Taiwan has complained for over a year or more of repeated missions by China's Air Force near the democratically governed island, often in the southwestern part of its defense zone close to the Taiwan-controlled Pratas Islands. But since Friday, when China marked its National Day, the country has embarked upon a massive ramping up of its missions, with almost 150 aircrafts flying into the defense zone of Taiwan over the space of 4 days. The latest mission included 34 J-16 fighters and 12 nuclear-capable 86 bombers, which all flew in an area in the vicinity of the Pratas Islands, according to a map provided by the ministry. A further 4 Chinese fighters were also spotted on Monday night, taking the total to the day to 56 aircrafts. And, well, protests are getting harder for Afghan women amid risks and red tape. Women in Afghanistan who object to what the Taliban has said and done since returning to power are finding it harder to protest now that impromptu demonstrations have been banned, and previous rallies were broken up by gunfire and beatings. Resistance within families and concerns over sharing information over social media that could identify people involved are also acting as deterrents, according to 6 female protesters Reuters spoke to across the country. Sporadic demonstrations by women demanding that the Taliban respect their civil freedom have been captured on social media, as have sometimes violent responses drawing the world's attention to issues of equality and human rights. The last time the Taliban ruled in the 90s, they banned women from work, girls from going to school, allowed women to leave their homes only when accompanied by a male relative, and insisted that women wore all enveloping burqas. In news from Japan, Japan's new Prime Minister calls the October 31st election and vows to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. Japan's new Prime Minister Fumio Kishida on Monday called a parliamentary election for October 31st and vowed to bolster the country's response to the coronavirus pandemic shortly after being formally confirmed by lawmakers in the top job. Kishida, who is a 64-year-old former foreign minister with an image as a consensus builder, earlier unveiled a cabinet lineup dominated by allies of former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and ex-Finance Minister Taro Aso. I want to ensure we implement large-scale, bold coronavirus countermeasures and economic policies. To do that, we must ask the people whether they trust me, Kishida, to carry out these policies, he said at his inaugural news conference. And he also said that he wants to pursue a politic of trust and compassion with the people's mandate. In other news, Panajan, rich and the powerful are denying wrongdoing after a dump of purported secrets. It's called the Pandora Papers. The Czech Prime Minister, the King of Jordan, and the chairman of India's biggest conglomerate were among global figures who were denying wrongdoing on Monday after the leak of what major news outlets are calling a secret trove of documents about offshore finance. India said it would investigate cases linked to the data dump, known collectively as the Pandora Papers, while Pakistan Finance Minister Shaukat Tareen said officials named in the documents were going to be investigated, including himself. The Kremlin said it had seen no evidence in the leak of hidden wealth among Russian President Vladimir Putin's entourage after the Washington Post said the documents showed Putin's mistress had used offshore funds to buy a flat in Monaco. The dump of more than 11.9 million records amounting to about 2.94 terabytes of data came 5 years after the leak known as the Panama Papers exposed how money hidden by the wealthy in ways that law enforcement agencies couldn't detect. The International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, a Washington-based, DC-based network of reporters and media organizations, said that these files are linked to about 35 current and former national leaders and more than 330 politicians and public officials in 91 countries and territories are involved in this particular huge scam. And let's go over to India, Bindujan, and let's see what exactly is going on the Indian front. Breaking news over the weekend. I don't know how many of you were following that. Shah Rukh Khan's son, Aryan Khan, was arrested. NCB's national... the Narcotics Bureau, the Narcotics Control Bureau's Samir Wankhede say that they have found links to the dark web and also the Bitcoin, apparently. Accused Arbaz merchant is being taken for further investigation by the NCB. That was one thing. And of course, Shashi Tharoor also lashes out for witch hunting Shah Rukh Khan for his son's arrest. And he even went ahead and said in his tweet, "I am no fan of recreational drugs and haven't ever tried any, but I'm repelled by the ghoulish epicuricity displayed by those now witch hunting Shah Rukh Khan on his son's arrest. Have some empathy, folks. The public glare is bad enough. No need to gleefully rub a 23-year-old's face in it," is what he says.
But did the 20-year-old already choose rub it and rub his face into it?
Well, that's, yeah, sort of. Well, that's what they're saying. But people are, but initially they were not pursuing the arrest, actually. They arrested.
Well, why wouldn't they pursue that? He was caught in a raid.
Yeah, it was a cruise ship's raid.
It was a raid, and cruise ships. But please be wary of all these things. Cruise ships.
So what people
things like this happen on cruise ships, small cruise ships. So rich people actually have those cruise ships.
Yeah.
So you don't want to get caught in those kind of situations.
So they arrested Aryan Khan, but there were thousands of others also on the ship who were also indulging in it. So apparently the NCB lawyer said, "Why was he on the ship?
Why?
If he was not doing
exactly."
Wait, so the Aryan's advocate responds and says, "You should have arrested also the 1,000 others if they were also on the ship. Did you catch him in the act?"
Well,
the question.
How would you send a message if you catch Aragira? It's not going to work.
Huh?
Yeah.
I don't know.
See, if you just because you caught Aryan is when the whole news flood up, right? If you caught some XYZ, then nobody would have cared about it.
No, that is the reason, right? So the guy who was Arbaz, what is his name? Arbaz Merchant and Munmun were sent to further custody. So has Aryan, and they're going to be in custody till October 7th. But during the extended hearing, the concerned lawyers engaged in animated and interesting arguments, apparently, like this, going back and forth.
Of course.
This is what they were doing. And in some updates about the Lakhimpur Kheri, a protest held across the country. An agreement was reached between the farmers and the administration in Uttar Pradesh, Lakhimpur Kheri, on Monday, a day after the violence at a protest left 9 people dead. A retired High Court judge will probe Sunday's violence. An ex gratia of 45 lakhs each will be given to the victims' families and rupees 10 lakhs to those injured in the clashes, is what is being reported as of now, Bhajan. And if you want to catch up on any of the news stories that we shared today, the number, you can go to mediamahima.com. And of course, for those of you who are watching us on YouTube, if your WhatsApp is down, use your iMessage or your Google message and send the message across to everybody about the fact that we are live right now on YouTube, and please propagate the YouTube live channel. Right, Altu Baba?
Why not? That's
Yeah.
right. I agree with you, Valdwani. You're so right about these things.
Yeah. So please go ahead and get that out and share the love and share the joy that comes through Radio D Hotties.
You mean share is SHR, not SHER, right? Share the singer, right?
No. The share the singer is spelled as CHER.
That's why I said I want to make sure because just someone talked about Shashi Tharoor and everything. And what's the word we put out there?
What was the word? What? No. Epicuricacy.
I was like, I was very close, Valdwani. I was very close. Epicuricacy.
Yeah.
Epicuricacy is what?
I don't know. I'm trying to see what it means.
Well, Jan, we'll see what it is, but enjoy the song and have a
rejoicing and deriving pleasure. Oh my God, I love this word.
Epi?
Pleasure from the misfortunes of
What is
others.
that? Epi?
Epicuricacy.
Epicuricacy. Please don't indulge in epicuricacy, Valdwani. Use this word in a sentence.
Yes, but
Epicuricacy. Please don't indulge in epicuricacy.
Epicuricacy.
Epicuricacy. Spelling?
Epicaricacy. It is the way it is said phonetically. So.
Wonderful, Valdwani. I'm so impressed by the way you're learning from me nowadays. Good. It's nice. You have a good teacher, Shashi Tharoor, for yourself, right? Epicuricacy.
It's
does
like.
I still feel does he walk around with a thesaurus in his hand?
Well, it is the English word for schadenfreude.
Okay, now Valdwani, same to you. Alright, Baljan, right now we're going to be saying have a wonderful evening. Valdwani is always powerful when she has a Google translator with her or a Google search engine. So with that, Baljan, have a magnificent Monday. We'll see you in the evening live with the Pam Pam Show. At least for 1 hour. For sure.
होली में अंगारे हैं
You love music, the best music with the best entertainment. You know where it keeps getting hotter, and that's Radio D Hotties. And ha, मैं आपकी फालतू रानी